ayam can mean days, as in 24 hours, or it can mean periods, time, stages. Now, when the universe was created, there was no days. There was no earth.
كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي.
The Poles lost 12 million. The Brits, we lost 650,000 in the Second World War. The Indians. No. My point. No. My point is, what I'm trying to say to you is, Indians, there were just 4 million who died in Bengal through starvation, and millions more fought for crown and country. And at that time, the disparity between the proportions would have changed.
Obviously, if you have a war, more men.
The mention of man and woman in the Quran is a matter of equality between the two, the value, the worth.
Yes.
You understand my point?
I understand your point. From my point, you're taking the fact and then you're taking that proportion and then finding a proportion that will fit that.
Not at all.
If it fits,
look,
that's the justice.
If Allah mentions land and He mentions sea in the Quran, hold on a second.
But land and sea, the proportion changes.
Not by 3 decimal places since 14 centuries ago. That's my point. My point is, as a rational human being, how would you categorize or how would you assert where such a statement could have come from?
This is what I'm trying to say. If you give me any book, and I can go with the computer, and I'll find.
I'm asking you a specific question.
No.
Let's be reasonable. No.
Don't understand. I can take any book and find certain proportions in it that seem amazing, or some. These could all be coincidences.
Would it also make many mistakes?
We'll just stick with this proportion thing.
Could you find
if you found a book? That's why I'm not convinced by.
If you found a book,
these miracles.
If you found a book that had sea and land mentioned, and it was accurate to 3 decimal places, right?
Yeah.
Within that book were many other mentions of many other things, where either the proportions were completely wrong, or the claims that it made actually were completely wrong as well. You could argue it's a coincidence.
I mean,
hold on a second.
Yeah.
Now if you get a book that talks about nature, aspects of nature that were not known at that time, that were either invisible or we simply did not have the knowledge or the experimentation, the instrumentation, okay, to assert such claims. And yet it never makes a mistake on any of them. No, I'm asking you a question.
Oh yes.
Would that not at least then spike your interest into thinking, well, how do these things come into this?
Yes, but I have actually heard some of those arguments before, and I mean, there's lots of things wrong in the Quran. I suppose, I mean, I could go, well, just like to choose one of, well, like the earth was made in 6 days.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. The Quran uses the word ayam.
Yeah.
No, hold on a second. In Arabic, ayam can mean days, as in 24 hours, or it can mean periods, time, stages. Now, when the universe was created, there was no days. There was no earth. Because there was no earth. There was no sun.
Well, there was time. So.
No, that's fine. But you could not rationalize that time and comprehend that time within a 24-hour day.
Sync it with the rotation of Earth.
You see what I mean? Because one rotation of an Earth, it denotes a day. So when Allah created the universe, and He uses the word ayam, it does not mean, hold on a second. It does not mean 24-hour day when the Earth spins around, spins on its axis. Now, if you wish to disprove religion, you will say, no, that is what it means. It's a 24-hour day. Come on, you're just dodging the question. Or you could be a little bit more, perhaps, let's say, nuanced and balanced, and say, this word that is used, ayyam, what are the different translations that can be applied within a different context of when it's applied? And if that Muslim says to you, ayyam can mean a day, but ayyam can also mean an aspect of time, which could be thousands or millions or billions of years even. I believe a person should say, well, okay, I can't then say that's wrong. I can say if somebody interprets it to be 24-hour days, it's wrong, but that interpretation is not wrong. You understand my point?
Yes. So my point would be, of course, it's this confirmation bias. If there's something in the Quran that's wrong, you have to go back and say, because I think when he said 6 days, everyone understood it to mean 6 days, because the Jews and Christians believed it was 6 days. You know, he should have, if it wasn't 6 days, he should have said, I made the heavens and earth in 6 days. By the way, when I say day, I mean 2 billion years. My point would be, when something is wrong, you find a way to justify or kind of editorialize it, and then when something happens to be right, it's presented that that's a miracle, even if it's a thing that could be a coincidence.
You see, look, the issue here is this, that as rational human beings, we deal in balance of probability all our lives. You walk down a dark street, you see a man with a hood on, you know, with his hood closed, walking a bit shifty, right? You assess that, I might be in danger here. I better be careful. Maybe I better not walk down that alley. Hold on a second. You base that upon what? You don't know that that guy is a criminal. You don't know that he's dodgy. You don't know any of that. But you make a decision. You want to buy a car. You want to buy a camera. You want to buy a house. You want to buy a TV. You go and you see the reviews. You look at the balance of probability. If 99.9% of people have said, and 20,000 of those TVs have been sold, and they said it's the best TV that they ever bought, there's no doubt in your mind that's probably a very, very good TV, because you deal in balance of probability, right? You don't deal in what ifs and what about this and what about that, because you say to yourself, oh, what about the component? That component might be made in China. That component might not be very good. Maybe it's not a very good TV. You don't do that. But what I find is that when it comes to religion, this is exactly what people do. So they might be overwhelmed with the balance of probability that, you know what, when you put all of these things together, the balance of probability that it's a false religion, or that it's not from God, or that it's man-made, is quite frankly almost nullified. Hold on a second. But they keep talking about this little component that might be made in China that might fail, even though 99.9% of the evidence points towards something far greater than that. And that's my point to you.
Yes, but what you're really saying is that people need more evidence than they get in the Quran.
No.
Well, they do, obviously, because they don't believe. No, they do. Here's the point. Yes. If the Quran is written in a miraculous way and involves all these miraculous statements, why didn't he go the whole hog in order to prove its validity to later people in the scientific age who were able to measure it? Why didn't he go the whole hog and just put in something like E equals MC squared? You know, why didn't he just say, not 6 days, we came from the Big Bang, there's a proton,
so
blah, blah, blah.
If you had E equals MC squared in there, would you become Muslim today?
I know what you're going to do, but
You'd become Muslim.
Actually, I would. I'm lying to you, but I'd be really impressed.
You wouldn't. That's my point.
What about the speed of light?
But the point is this.
Oh, no.
This is my point, though.
Yeah.
The point is this. My point is, look, if you wish to deny deny something.
No. You know, I'm just saying, why did God write the Quran where there was these little hidden things that are miracles?
Can I ask you a question?
But why did he do only little miracles?
You said,
if he wants people to believe it, why didn't he do a big
you're saying
miracle?
you're saying that they're little, but you haven't studied them, so you don't know. No, not really. From what you've said to me, okay, you may well have done so, but I can tell you now, from your questioning, you haven't studied the miracles. Now, as far as, hold on a second. Look, when you say little miracle or big miracle, when the Quraysh at the time, when they read the Arabic of the Quran, even the ones who died in disbelief accepted that that was a miracle. It was from God, but they wouldn't accept it because they did not accept the fact that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came from a tribe that they did not belong to. So it was their arrogance that stopped them. But they knew it was a miracle.
You don't actually know the psychology of his opponent.
No. They knew it was Abu Lahab. There's a verse in the Quran. This is another miracle of the Quran. 8 years before he died, Allah revealed a verse in the Quran. He won't accept Islam and he's going to go to hell. 8 years before he died. The people came to Abu Lahab.
Just the very last
there is a verse in the Quran, a chapter in the Quran,
just the last sentence.
111. Tabbat yada. I think it's 111.
I missed the words.
Tabbat yada Abi Lahabi Lahab. It's talking about Abu Lahab. Lahabi wa tab. Ma aghna anhu ma'luhu wa ma kasab. Sayasala naran dhata lahab. Wa imra'atu hammalat al-hatab. Fi jidha hablum min masad. It talks about Abu Lahab, this man who is an opponent to the Prophet, an opponent to Islam, a man who is in disbelief. And he and his wife, Allah describes how his wife will put a crown of thorns on his head. Hold on a second. Look.
I do know the passage.
Okay, what I'm trying to say to you is that Allah discusses about a person who will not accept Islam 8 years before his death. The people came to Abu Lahab and they said, look, all you have to do is accept Islam. And you have proven the Quran to be wrong because Allah said you won't accept it. Even secretly, just say it verbally in front of the people, secretly do what you want, be what you want. Just accept it to destroy this Quran. Accept it. No, accept it. Now just imagine.
That's miraculous.
Well, I tell you why it's miraculous. Because an enemy of Islam knows that all he has to do is say, okay, I accept the Prophet, I accept Islam, Quran is false. Job done. Job done. That's all he has to do. But Allah said, no, he won't do it. He won't accept it. And he didn't. And it is a miracle. Because, look, when I say miracle, it's something, it is something.
Say people came to this guy, forgot his name, and said, why did it, where is that written down?
In Hadith. In Hadith.
People actually asked him to convert.
Yes.
The guy that
They said, just convert.
Right, okay.
Just do it openly, but secretly, just be whatever you want to be. Now, the people around at that time, for them it was a miracle. And the reason why it was a miracle, because they knew that if this Quran was false, all he has to do is say that, and he's disproved the Quran. It's all over.
But the problem is you're saying the people at the time could see that the Prophet was a genuine prophet. But as I read it, he was thrown out of Mecca. They didn't believe it. I mean, even in the Quran it talks about the disbelievers and the people who mock and scoff and deny it. So lots of people didn't believe it.
Well,
If it was so...
believing something
Yeah.
and acting on the belief are two separate things.
But very similar.
No, I'll tell you why they're not.
Especially if the belief is,
I'll tell you why.
if I don't do this, I'm going to be burned
I'll
alive.
tell you why. I'll tell you why not. There are people even today who believe that it's wrong to drive over 30 miles an hour on that road. They believe it. They know it. They still break the law. There are people who know it's wrong. Hold on. There are people who know it's wrong to pick your pocket and steal your money. They know that. They still do it. Believing something and accepting it and acting upon it are two separate things.
Because they know they'll get fined. If the people who believe in the Prophet know that they're going to be burnt alive for all eternity, if people will slow down for a speed camera, what won't they do to avoid, being burnt alive?
Well, there are people who don't slow down even when the camera's in, and they get a ticket, don't they?
If there was a great big ball of fire and said, if you go over 30 miles an hour, I'm standing here with a flamethrower, I bet you every single one of them would slow down.
In America, there are storm chasers. Hold on a second.
Do you see the point I'm making?
Hold on a second. The point I'm making to you
is that there must be people who sincerely didn't believe.
The analogy.
You're saying that the majority of people sincerely believed, but for some weird reason, suicidal reason, decided to reject it.
Not weird reason. We were told why they didn't accept it. We're told that it was because of takabbur, arrogance. Arrogance in their hearts. That they would not accept it because of their own arrogance. So they denied the truth. They denied the truth, and that's what made them kufr. They concealed and hid. They made that was revealed. They concealed it, and they became disbelievers.
See, that doesn't really describe how people work. If everyone knows something is true.
But you see, you're assuming something about human beings that even today we don't see. So there are people who know if they drink too much, it will kill them. There are people today who know if they smoke too much, it will kill them. There are people today who are overweight and they know if I keep eating like this, it will kill me. They still do it, don't they? There is something inherent within human nature, even though it may be very detrimental to our outcome, it doesn't always stop us from doing those things or not doing those things. So what I'm trying to explain to you is, look, let's move logically.
But I think a more likely explanation is they just didn't believe it. You seem to be saying that it's miraculous. Everyone at the time believed that the Prophet was a true prophet and they accepted it. But I don't think they did.
Well, I didn't say everybody. What I said to you
most people. That's why he got thrown out of Mecca. Most people didn't believe. Most people at the time who knew Arabic and knew poetry and knew the guy didn't actually believe it. So that's most of the people that knew the guy didn't believe it.
We have a story of Abu Lahab, the same guy, who would sneak outside the house of the Prophet to hear the recitation of the Quran. And there were two other companions, Abu Sufyan and one other companion. And they caught each other sneaking outside the Prophet's house to hear his recitation of the Quran. Because the Quranic recitation is a very peaceful, very harmonious recitation. It gives you a lot of peace in your heart. It does anyway, to most people. Now, when they caught each other, they said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "What are you doing here?" They said, "Well, what are you doing here?" And they promised each other they would not come back the next night. The next night, they caught each other again. "You said you wasn't going to come here. Why are you here to listen to the recitation of the Quran?" They promised once again they wouldn't come back. The third night, they caught each other again. And they swore by God, and they swore by Allah that they would never come back again, and they did not return. They swore on their families' lives, and they did not return. The companion, these were all disbelievers. The third companion goes to Abu Sufyan. He says, "Abu Sufyan, this recitation, where do you think it's come from? There's no explanation. Where are these words coming from?" He said, coming from God. They're God's words. Hold on a second. He says, Abu Sufyan, you, the leader of Mecca, one of the leaders, are saying that the Quran is from God. They both go to Abu Lahab. He said, Abu Lahab, look what Abu Sufyan is saying. He said that this Quran, he says it's from God. Abu Lahab says, yes, it is from God. Abu Lahab, you are saying that this Quran, he said it's impossible to be from anywhere else. I know the Arabic language, and I know these people were well versed what was possible to do, what was possible to say, how to say it, the grammar, the way things are said. Never heard it before. Never heard it before, because when the Quran was revealed, it didn't conform to even the grammatical principles of the Arabic language that existed at that time. So he said, there's no doubt. He said, why won't you accept the Quran then? Why won't you accept him as the Prophet of Allah? He said, because his tribe is from a tribe of such and such. Our tribe is from such and such. How can we accept him and lower ourselves to him? On that premise, he did not accept the Quran, did not accept the Prophet Muhammad verbally as the messenger and accept Islam. And 8 years before he died, Allah already told the believers in the Quran, he won't accept Islam. So now, individually, we can gloss over, brush over, we can poke holes, and what I'm saying is that we can come to an alternative explanation. When we look at things collectively, it becomes virtually improbable, impossible to simply keep saying, oh, this could have been that, or that could have been this, or this is just that. 10,000 times later, oh, this is just this, or this might be that, or that could have been like this. No, a rational person, a sensible person says that the burden of weight of evidence now is such that my argument's back is broken. I have no argument against this weight of evidence. And believe me, when I was 16 or 17, if it hadn't broken my back, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be out doing something else. I looked at this religion critically. It had to convince me without any doubt. And that's one of the things that Allah says in the Quran, that this is a book without doubt from your Lord. In other words, if you study it with an open heart and an open mind, you will be left with no doubt where it's come from. This is what Allah says in the Quran. The problem we have today is that people don't study the in-depth Quran. They say, oh, I read it. In what language? In the miraculous language of the Quran, of Arabic? Hold on a second. Or did you just get an idea of what it's saying in English, in Spanish, in Italian? Do you understand the Quran? Yes, I read the translation. Who explained that translation to you? The tafsir of how these verses came down, when they came down. Was it specific? Was it universal? Who do they apply to? What does the grammar? What does the grammar mean if applied before this word? What if it changes if it applied to that word? Are you aware of it? No? Have you at least sat with scholars to explain these things to you? No? But I don't accept it. Because I've heard critics tell me that, oh, when it talks about this, this is an error in the Quran. And I'm going to accept that. I'm not going to talk to a Muslim to find out, look, this man is saying it's an error. What's your idea of this? The earth is made in 6 days. We know now that's wrong. The Muslim will say to you, the word is ayam, and it means this, and it can mean that, and the scholars say it's this, and the scholar says that. And the person would then have to say, even if he doesn't agree with that interpretation, that now there is enough doubt that on balance of probability, you can't say with a certainty that that's an error, that's wrong. You understand my point?
Yeah.
But what people do is they don't talk to a Muslim, they don't talk to a scholar, they're not interested in the tafsir. They find the confirmation bias that they were looking for. That there's an error, I'll accept it as an error, and I'll deny the Quran, and I'll die.
نجما شع فأبهجنا يا شعلة نور وضاء يا ديمة خير وعطاء ويمام نقاء. كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي.